And I'm going to pull up our notebook. Let me go to our English team. And I'm going to bring up our welcome page because here we have our expectations. So you guys remember we worked really hard to earn some points last week, right? And you guys did so awesome at earning points that we earned a Kahoot. You guys remember? That's what you guys chose, so that's what you worked for. So we're super excited about that. We'll do that at the end of class, the last 10 minutes. I know Evan and Alex have already done this Kahoot twice today. They're going to do it again, but it's going to be good. So that'll be fun. You guys did a great job, and you definitely should be rewarded for your efforts. So we're going to make sure to take this marvelous Monday to celebrate all the hard work you guys have done. And then we're going to keep working hard and earning those points. So let's take a look at what it takes to earn some points. So Nicholas, go ahead and read number 1 for us. Turn on your mic, please. Nicholas, mic on, please.
I'm being a little bit shy.
Right here, number 1. That's okay.
Be respectful of class, be on time, and do not live. What does it say?
Leave early.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate your help. All right, and then William, go ahead and read number 2 and 3 for us.
Okay. Which one?
Number 2 and number 3.
Okay. Be respectful. Video is on, mic is muted, and raise your hand. Be on task. Eyes looking at screen. Ears listening to the teacher and the participating.
Thank you, William. Evan, can you read number 4 for us?
Okay. Safe, socialize, distance, safe hands, safe bodies.
Very good. Thank you, Evan. I'm going to go ahead and mute us because we're getting lots of feedback. And then, Alex, can you read number 5 for us? You can turn your mic on.
Be the best you can be. Complete turn-in assignments and doing Lexi and Alex minutes.
All right, so you guys, since we're in our English class, you guys will get extra points if you're doing your Lexia minutes, okay? And also if you're turning in our assignments. So make sure you're doing those things, we'll get some points. And then let's have Lucas. You can read our last point for us, number 6.
All right. Encouraging peers and teachers.
Very good. Thank you guys for reading that. So remember, these are all of our ways that we can earn some extra points today, or just points in general, right? So make sure you guys are all here, and you guys were all on time. So great job. You guys earned a point for that. And then make sure you're being respectful. So your videos need to be on. So let's see. Lucas, please turn your video on because I want you to be able to earn those points. And then, of course, your mic.
Camera?
Yeah, the camera on. That's one of the ways that we're earning. Yeah, we're earning points that way. So cameras on, your mics are doing great at being muted, and you guys usually raise your hand before you have something to say. Yep, so these are the ways we're going to earn those points. Thank you for having your camera on, Lucas. Okay, so now we are going to get into what we are working on today. So we are in a new story in our reading street. So I'm going to pull up our English team. Oh, sorry, actually, I'm going to go here and pull it up. So I'm in our English notebook in my notebook, right? Teacher only. So we're reading a story called Satchel Paige this week, okay? So in Mrs. Dora's group, you guys are going to be going over all these words to know. But just know that we're talking about Satchel Paige. He's famous for his pitching in baseball. So he is super awesome, set lots of records, and we're going to learn about all the different struggles that he went through in baseball for his time. Let's go let RJ in. Hello.
Hi, Miss Babbitt.
Hi, RJ.
Let's do it.
Yep, we're
I'll
ready.
take stuff.
Sounds great. Thank you, RJ. And then Devin, I saw you joined us. Does your camera work now?
Let me try it again. Because I don't want to have to go to the school to get a new computer just for this.
No, I know. I agree.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me try it again. And if it doesn't like me, it doesn't like me. Okay.
There
Can
you are.
see me?
Yes, you're good. You did it.
Yes.
Okay, great job. All right, so you guys can go ahead and put your mics on mute because we were just getting started with our lesson. So we were talking about Satchel Paige. So this is the guy that we're going to be reading about this week. He was a baseball player, as you can probably tell by his baseball mitt that he's wearing and kind of his outfit, right? Kind of looks like a baseball uniform. So he is a famous pitcher for clear back in the day. And we're going to be reading about the different struggles he faced for his time in sports, and it's going to be really good. So to get started, we're going to pull up a story called Teammates. So where is Teammates? Nope, I don't see our teammate story. Oh,
Miss Babbitt, can
never
I go
mind.
to the restroom, please?
Oh, sure, you can. Sorry, my bad, you guys. We're reading a story called It's Opening Day. Okay, so we're going to listen to a read aloud, actually, of this. So let me pull that up. Okay, hold on a second, you guys. I'm going to pull up our read aloud here. I'm just logging into my ReadWorks account. It has me logging in again because it signed me out. All right, logging in. We're going to listen to this. All right, so I have our story pulled up. I'm going to share my screen with you again and include the audio. Okay, so here's our story that we're reading about. It's called It's Opening Day. So we're going to read this story together, and then we're going to answer some questions about this story. All right? So we're going to listen to them read this story, and then we're going to answer the questions about this story. So here is our passage, and I'm going to start it, and I'm going to be pausing in between so that we can talk about what's going on.
It's Opening Day by W.M. Akers. The weather was growing crisper. It was getting dark later, and Matthew had stopped wearing a coat to school. Spring was coming, but that didn't matter to him. What was really important was it was April. April meant baseball. April meant the end of the long, cold off-season. April meant opening day. The local team was called the Crickets. It wasn't a very tough name for a baseball team, but that was okay. The Crickets weren't a major league team, with a 50,000-seat stadium, expensive tickets, and big-name players. They were a minor league team, and that suited Matthew just fine. The stadium was small, the tickets were cheap, and the players weren't famous, at least not right now. Some were young players, only 7 or 8 years older than Matthew, with dreams of playing in the big leagues, and the talent to make it happen. Other players were older, their time in the big leagues finished, but they stuck around the Crickets because they weren't ready yet to let go of the game that had defined them ever since childhood. And then there were players like Billy Carney, the shortstop. He had manned the space between second and third base for as long as Matthew could remember. Each year he was one of the 2 best players on the team, but he never did quite well enough to get called up to the majors. Each opening day, Matthew was shocked to see that Billy was still playing for the Crickets. "Geez, Dad," he would say. "I can't believe Billy didn't get called up to the big leagues this year." "You think he played pretty well last season?" his father would ask. "Are you kidding?" Matthew's face turned purple whenever anybody questioned Billy Carney. He hit 27 home runs. He had 98 RBIs. He walked more than anybody else on the team. Matthew didn't need a baseball card to tell him Billy's statistics. He knew them by heart, from studying the sports page every morning at breakfast, to see how Billy and the other Crickets had played the night before. Over the winter, he committed all of their numbers to memory, and at night he would recite them to himself until he fell asleep. "How was his fielding?" Matthew's father would ask, teasing him. "I bet he made a lot of errors." "Dad, are you crazy? He moves like a spider out there. Nobody turns a double play faster than Billy. Nobody's better at tagging runners out. Last season, he didn't make an error for..." Matthew thought for a moment, doing the math in his head. 47 games. That's not bad. Then how come he didn't get called up to the majors? "I don't know. It's not fair. He's better than most of the guys you see playing on TV. It's good news for us, right? Now we get to watch him play live for another season. I'm telling you, Dad. He's the best." Matthew and his father had gone to see the Crickets play every opening day since Matthew was born. Their family celebrated a lot of holidays: Thanksgiving, Halloween, the 4th of July, not to mention Matthew's and his sister's birthdays, but as far as he was concerned, opening day was the best one. It was usually on a weekday, and his dad always let him skip school to go. "There are some things you can only learn in school," he told me.
All right, I'm going to pause it. So far we have the setting. So what month are we in, you guys?
We're in August.
Okay, but in the story, you're right, it's August right now, but in the story, what month is it?
April.
Yeah, it's April, and that means that it's baseball season, right? It's starting. So we have this local team here called the Crickets. Okay, that's their baseball team name. And it says they're not a major league team, which means like here in Arizona we have the Diamondbacks, right? And then in California there's like the Dodgers, or in Texas they have the Houston Astros. Okay, there's lots of different major league teams. This is not a major league team, the Crickets. They are a smaller minor league team, okay? That's what they're called. And so they're talking about a player like Billy Carney, the shortstop. So apparently this guy, Billy Carney, is super good at what he does here in the position of shortstop, which is a position on the field, on the infield for baseball. And Matthew is the character in the story. So Matthew and his dad are having a conversation. And Matthew is a little frustrated because he can't believe that Billy Carney didn't get called up to the big leagues. Because Billy Carney is a super awesome baseball player. And so Matthew's like, "Oh, Dad, geez, Dad, I can't believe it." Okay. And so Matthew and his dad are kind of having this conversation back and forth about how it's kind of unfair that Billy didn't make it to the major leagues yet. And so Matthew's sharing all of these awesome statistics about Billy, about how he can do double plays faster and his fielding. Anyway, so they decide it's not fair because he's better than most of the guys you see playing on TV. So I'm gonna press play so we can keep going on with the story, okay? But Matthew and his dad are super big baseball fans. They like to go watch this team, the Crickets. They're like a local team.
Matthew once, And there are some things you can only learn at the ballpark. Each year, Matthew and his dad wore Crickets jerseys and Crickets hats, and they always got to the ballpark early enough to watch the hitters take batting practice. County Stadium was an old ballpark, almost as old as Matthew's dad himself, and it had started to get a little shabby by the time Matthew started going to games. The scoreboard was rusty, the speakers were screechy, and the chairs weren't as comfortable as they could have been. But on a sunny day, Matthew thought, it was the most beautiful stadium in the world. Last year was perfect. The sun was bright, the sky was clear, and there was just enough of a breeze to remind him that summer wasn't quite here yet. The Crickets won 4-2. Matthew ate 2 hot dogs and a plastic baseball helmet full of ice cream, and Billy Carney bowed to the fans when he ran out onto the field. They went to a lot of games the rest of the summer, but opening day, as always, was his favorite. On the coldest days of winter, when wind cut through Matthew's parka and his fingers turned as pink as Vienna sausages, Matthew remembered opening day, and the outfield grass that was as green and perfect as the Emerald City in The Wizard of Oz. "I've got bad news," said Matthew's father, 2 days before the season started. "I can't go to opening day this year." "Dad," said Matthew, "that is a dumb joke." "I'm not kidding. Your sister's play is Sunday afternoon. Her play is happening for 3 days. We're watching it at school on Monday. Why don't you just come then?" "I've got to work, kid. I'm really sorry." Matthew's father looked sad.
Uh-oh. Okay, so this whole time, every single year, the first day of the season, opening day, Matthew and his dad go to the baseball game. They go to see the Crickets play. But guess what? It's happening this year. Matthew's sister has what do they call it? They have a play. And so they don't get to go on opening day anymore. Oh no. And so it's talking about how Matthew's father is sad, and obviously Matthew is super disappointed because every year they go to opening day, the first day of the season. So let's see what happens.
The story's interesting.
Isn't it so interesting? I'm glad you think so. All right, so let me go press play. We'll keep reading and listening.
But Matthew did not. He did not cry, he did not scream, he did not yell at his father about breaking promises. One of the things that he could only learn at the ballpark is that there's no crying in baseball, so Matthew didn't cry. But he wanted to. "Why don't we go to the game Monday night?" his father asked. Matthew wanted to explain that night games were no good, that he had been waiting all winter for blue skies and green grass and sunshine. Night games were fine in the middle of the summer, when it was too hot to sit out in the sun, but it was April. He didn't want to go to County Stadium in his parka, but he didn't know how to put it into words. "I want to go to opening day," he said, finally. "I've got an idea," said his dad. "It's kind of crazy, but do you want to go by yourself?" "What? You're old enough now. When I was your age, I'd go to games alone all the time. I know it's not what we usually do, but it could be fun." "Go to the game, alone?" asked Matthew. He had to admit, it was better than not going at all. The sky was blue, the grass was green, and Matthew wore his Crickets jersey and Crickets hat. His seat was right where he liked, along the first base line, behind the home dugout, and all his favorite players were in the lineup, with Billy Carney batting first. He took out his scorecard and carefully wrote their names down. During the game, he would make notes of what happened, who got a double, who struck out, who had the big home run. It was an old-fashioned thing to do, but Matthew liked it, because it helped keep him focused on the game. His father had taught him how to keep score. It was a perfect day for baseball. So why did Matthew feel so gloomy? During the second and fifth...
All right, you guys. So what did they come up with? They couldn't go to the first opening day with his dad, but guess what? Dad had an idea. He said that Matthew could go all by himself. What?
It's crazy.
I know. Would your parents ever let you go to the baseball stadium by yourself?
Yeah.
Really? When I was your age, my parents would not have let me go by myself. I would have gotten lost.
I was able to go, but I had somebody with me that just watched me. So
Okay.
technically I was by myself, but really I wasn't by myself.
Oh, okay, I understand.
I mean, there's a lot of people. Anything can happen.
True. So Matthew's all alone at this stadium, and he usually loves baseball, but guess what? This time he's feeling gloomy. Aww. And so let's see what happens during the 2nd and the 5th innings. All right, I'm going to press play.
5th innings, Matthew bought hot dogs from the hot dog vendor. His dad had given him $20 to spend, and Matthew was going to spend all of it. He wanted to get a plastic baseball helmet full of ice cream, but he had to go to the concession stand for that, and if he stopped watching the game, he wouldn't be able to write down what happened on his scorecard. If it were later in the season, this wouldn't worry him so much, but today was opening day, and the scorecard, everything, had to be perfect. He decided to skip the 7th inning stretch. This was a big sacrifice, because singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" was one of the best parts of going to see the Crickets. The mascot, a big green cricket in a foam costume, would run out onto the field and dance around and throw t-shirts. But Matthew already had plenty of Crickets t-shirts. What he didn't have was ice cream. He waited in line, and paid the last of his money for a plastic baseball helmet full of mint chocolate chip. When he got back to his seat, the sun had gone away. Matthew balanced his ice cream in the cup holder in front of him, and frowned at his scorecard. In the space for weather he had written sunny. He changed it to sunny/clouds. He put his scorecard aside and focused on his ice cream, which was beginning to melt. As he ate it, he shivered. The game was over. The Crickets had won, 6-1. A blowout, but not a very exciting one. According to his scorecard, Billy Carney had a single and a walk, but no runs batted in. A good day, but not a great one. As always, Billy had bowed to the people when he ran out onto the field, and Matthew bowed back. When he hit his single, with a sound like a judge's gavel, Matthew cheered louder than he had all day. He fixed the image in his mind, Billy Carney, hustling down the first baseline, right in front of his eyes. He would tell his father about it when he got home, and he would remember it come winter. Matthew's dad had told him to call when the game was over and he would come pick him up, but now, standing outside the stadium, he didn't want to leave. He sat on a bench outside the stadium, making sure his scorecard was perfect. He erased wobbly lines and redrew them, straight, bold and firm. Flawed letters, a wobbly K, a slouching B. He went over until they looked like they had been put there by a computer. By the time he was finished, nobody could have done a better job. Matthew looked up, and saw the parking lot was empty. Behind him, the stadium was closed, and with it, the only payphone. How would his dad know to come pick him up? The sun was long gone now, and Matthew began to wish he had brought his parka. It was windy in the county stadium parking lot. He walked around the ballpark, hoping to find another.
Uh-oh, so what happened? What's going on in the story? Matthew watched the game, the Crickets won, then he fixed his scorecard, and what happened?
You lost it? I think
Remember-
what? Huh?
Go ahead, Devin.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I just was saying, what happened? Why is he... He saw the parking lot was
Matthew
empty.
looked up and he saw the parking lot was empty behind him. Yeah. And then the stadium was closed.
Yeah, the stadium was closed.
And the only phone, and he had a pay phone.
So he was supposed to call his dad, right?
Yeah.
When he would tell his father about it when he got home, he was supposed to call his dad when the game was over. But he spent so much time fixing his scorecard, and then all of a sudden the parking lot was empty and the stadium was closed and he didn't have access to the phone. Uh-oh. And it's getting cold and dark. So he starts walking. Okay? He's trying to find another payphone so that he can call his dad. Let's see what happens. I'm going to press play.
Her phone, but all he found was cracked concrete and overgrown grass. On the other side from the outfield wall, he saw a battered old baseball, a forgotten home run from the season before. He picked this up and put it in his pocket. A boy can never have too many baseballs. Holding it as he picked his way across the gravel, he felt less afraid. As he completed the loop around the stadium, he heard a door close behind him. "Hey kid," said a voice, and Matthew's heart leapt. It was Billy Carney. Out of uniform, he looked bigger than he did on the field, like he could crush a rock into dust with one hand. He was smiling, just like he had when he bowed to the crowd that afternoon. "You here by yourself?" "Kinda," said Matthew. "My dad's supposed to pick me up, but I don't have a way to call him." Silently, Billy took his cell phone out of his pocket and handed it over. Matthew dialed his father's number and told him to meet him by the main entrance. When he handed the phone back to Billy, he said thanks, quietly. "No problem," said Billy. "You want some company while you wait?" "Sure," said Matthew, as they walked back to his bench. "Enjoy the game today?" "It was pretty good," said Matthew. "That was a nice at-bat you had in the sixth, when you drew the walk." "Thanks. It must have been 7, 8 pitches." "It was 9, said Matthew. "I was counting." "Glad to know somebody's paying attention. That a baseball in your pocket?" "I found it on the other side of the center field fence. They don't clean back there as much as they should. Want me to sign it?" Matthew handed Billy the ball, his heart in his chest. As Billy traced his wide, looping signature across the grimy yellow leather, Matthew asked the question that had been bothering him all day. "Do you ever get sick of playing here?" he asked. "What do you mean?" "You're good enough to play in the majors. I know it. You know it. The whole crowd knows it. You hit 27 home runs last year. You had 98 RBIs. You walked more than anybody else on the team. Doesn't it drive you crazy to be stuck down here, in this crummy old ballpark, playing for nobody?" For a moment, Billy looked hurt. Then a smile broke out across his face, and he started laughing. "Are you nuts, kid?" he asked. "I get to play baseball for a living. It's not much money, but it's enough. And if I can keep the people entertained here, who cares about the big leagues?" "Yeah? It's opening day. We're at the ballpark. What have we got to complain about?"
All right, so that's the end of the story. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you guys go to the assignment tab real quick. So please go into the assignment tab.
We have homework.
Yeah.
That's not good.
All right, so you guys are going into the assignment tab. Hold on a second. And we're going to get started on a reading comprehension assignment. Okay, so the assignment you're looking for is called Opening Day.
Oh, I thought the assignment was called Create Your Own Baseball Card.
Oh no, that's something we're doing tomorrow. So do you guys see one there that says Opening Day?
Nope.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me go. Maybe it's not scheduled yet.
Okay, I'm holding on.
Thanks, guys. Where is it? All right, give me a second. All right, is everyone in the assignment tab though? Because, okay, I see what
Yes.
happened. It's just not scheduled yet.
I'm in
Okay,
there.
so hold on a second. You guys might have to refresh your page because it's not scheduled yet. It's in there, but it's not scheduled for you. So hold on one second. All right, hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay, so now it should be in there. So go ahead and either you might have to refresh your assignments page, but try to get in there again.
Assignment?
Yep, assignments.
Right there?
It's opening day reading comp. So I want you guys to,
I found me in chat, Miss Bobbit.
I want you guys to circle the answer. So you're going to use the draw tool. And you're going to answer the questions, okay?
Which
So
one do I click on?
It's called opening day reading comprehension. Do you see that?
Yes, open day.
Yep, click there. Good job, Nicholas. So like number 1 says, what does Matthew like to do every April? So you guys are going to use the draw tab, and you can either use the highlighter and you'll select the answer, or you'll circle it with the pen. Okay? Can you guys do that for me?
Really, I'm so tired.
Okay. We're gonna do this tomorrow as well, okay? All right, tell you what, you guys. Hey, can you make sure to put any toys away because it's not time to play with toys right now. Thank you. All right, you guys. I'm just showing you that's where that assignment is. We're gonna work on it tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
All righty. And oh my goodness, you guys, no one reminded me. We didn't do our Marvelous Monday activity.
Oh.
We're gonna do our activity tomorrow. I'm so sorry. We'll make sure to do our Kahoot tomorrow, okay?
We'll do this tomorrow, okay?
Yep. All right, you guys did awesome. We're gonna do that assignment tomorrow together, okay?
Okay, Miss Bobbit, may I hang up now?
Yes, you guys can
Okay,
hang up.
bye, Miss
I'll
Bobbit.
see you in the